Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is David. I am the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer here at University of Miami. So as you all know, the session is about Copilot. And as you probably know, we have purchased a lot of licenses. We have the largest installation for education and healthcare customers. So this series of sessions and this week is all about making sure you have the skills, the tools, the techniques to make sure you get the most out of that license. I've invited partners from Microsoft and Alithia here to deliver trainings for you, but this is not the only opportunity for training. We have a whole week of sessions and we have a whole website that we should probably pull up towards the end of the session that outlines the content and materials and resources you have to continue your Copilot journey. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things off to Marcella here, who's going to go over all the things you can do to enhance your productivity with Copilot.
Thank you. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session of From To Do to Done, Personal Productivity with Copilot. For those that are online, if you have a chance to sign in, please, we are taking attendance. It will be really nice just to scan the QR code and let us know that you are participating in this session. There's also a link that is available in the Q&A. Now, those that are with us in person, please feel free to ask any questions as I go through our demonstration. We're happy to help, to answer any questions. Know that this 60-minute demonstration will also be followed with another 60 minutes of open hours for any type of questions, so there won't be any structure material for the other 60 minutes. We're here available to help you out with any questions, any doubts, or any scenario that you want us to help you out through. And those that are in virtual, please use the Q&A to send your questions. I do have my colleague Anna that will be going through the Q&A and answer all of your questions. Hi everyone, my name is Marcella. I'm a training specialist. I've joined Alithia, a Microsoft certified partner 3 years ago, and I'm French Canadian. Now, after today's session, you should be able to use Copilot M365 apps and chats, understand its uses and limitation, and create some content with it. So let's get started. Now, this is a beginner's session, so we'll be doing some basic instructions, we're going to be sharing some basic information about Copilot, and we'll go through an overview of Copilot within the apps. So there's a lot of features, there are a lot of things that Copilot can do. We'll just see a few of them in order to at least see a wide range of possibility within different apps. All right, let's see the other screen. Here we are. It's actually this one. All right. Now, what is Copilot? Copilot is an AI-powered digital assistant. It combines the power of large language models, just like the OpenAI's ChatGPT, with your data in Microsoft applications. So, for those that do have a license, and if you don't have a license, you should be definitely getting one. There's a lot of available licenses for you to get here at University of Miami. Now, you do want to have a license because in that way, Copilot will access your Microsoft applications, your Microsoft data, meaning emails, meetings, files, chats, all of that information. And you can ask questions in natural language, meaning like if you were discussing with a human, and get back some information or have content creating out of that. So it is a great tool to assist you with many tasks that you do routinely. All right, so what are the strengths of this generative AI? It can summarize and classify text, generate names and phrases. It can do translations. It can answer questions, suggest content, and generate and translate code as well. Now, some limitations is that could be some potential inaccuracies and some irrelevant suggestions that happens in any type of AI tool, and you should always check Copilot's references and results. If your prompt is lacking of context, that could be providing some results that are not necessarily relevant to you. So we're going to talk about a bit today of how to structure a prompt as well. We'll be giving you some tips. And same thing for if it's lacking of knowledge about regarding your domain. Well, and if you have some expertise niche, some niche expertise, that could be, of course, you can see those in the results. You can see how Copilot will be answering. Of course, it is not, Copilot doesn't have a PhD. It might not have a PhD in your niche knowledge and your niche domain, but it will be helping you out for sure with your regular tasks. Okay, let's see and let's start and let's check out some different versions of Copilot. First of all, let's talk about Copilot Web. Now, right now, I am in my browser. Let's go with a brand new tab. Now in my browser, I am using Edge, and at the top right, I have my Copilot icon. When I open this Copilot pane, I do have access to Copilot chat. Now I do have a license, so I can toggle between my work tab and web tab. Now those who don't have a license yet, they won't be able to toggle between those two, and by default, they'll only be using the web tab. Now, when we're working with the web tab, Copilot is not accessing our Microsoft data. Yet it's very good to do some research in the web. We can get some informations such as, for example, if we're looking for some general information that is indeed located in the web, let's try some prompt in here. Let's ask, what are UM's register hours tomorrow? So it's going to go through the web, find some information about University of Miami that is available to everyone in the web. So here I can see that I have my information of hours for tomorrow being Thursday. It is open from 8:30 to 5. Where did it get that information? We have always the sources. Next to each piece of information, we'll have that source, and at the very bottom, we have the full list of sources. Here, as we can see, we only have one source, and then I can click on it. It's going to open in a new tab, and I can actually verify the source of that information and actually verify the raw data. So that's how we would be using Copilot Web, the web tab. Very useful for simple queries. Know that this little pane is also available in a full page interface. When you go to your home page of Microsoft 365, right? Here it's M365 Copilot. Used to be office.com. We can see now in my address bar, it's m365.cloud.microsoft. This is my home page. It's the exact same thing that I was working on my right pane. Now this as well, I'm already logged in with my organizational credentials, and that was this case as well with the right pane. You want to be logged in with your credentials. That way your data is secure. We can see here at the top right, I have the enterprise data protection that is only available for you when you log in with your University of Miami credentials. All right. So here, what do I have? Again, both of my toggles, work and web. This Microsoft 365 chat also available in the left navigation pane in Teams. You can find it in there. You can find it as well in the left navigation pane of Outlook. It's the exact same interface. We'll be able to toggle between work and web. You can access past conversations as well. If I go to web and then I take a look at my past conversations, let me just refresh this. I have had this open for a while. Now, in the left navigation pane, I'll have a conversation section. So here I can see that my last conversation for the web tab was about the University of Miami hours, and here I can find that information again. I can just check past informations. I can get back and continue the conversation, send some follow-up prompts if I have additional questions regarding this topic. If I'm talking about a different topic, if I want to switch, you should start a new chat. Otherwise, Copilot will use the conversations as a context and will be taking that into account. And if you're talking about a different topic, it's going to confuse Copilot. So you want to make sure that you start a new chat when switching topics to make sure that there's no confusions in the context that Copilot uses to provide you an answer. Now, let's use Copilot Web now for a more complex research. Let's take a look at this more complex prompt. Now, everything that you'll get as a result will be as good as your prompt. So if you're sending a generic prompt, you're gonna get a generic response. Now here, my example has context, it has expectations. Let's see what I have. I teach poetry at the University of Miami. I need to instruct introductory level students about the most important works in Old and Middle English. Give me a list of works, including references to the best facing page translation editions, cost of each, and year of original publication, sorted by publication year. So what do I have here? I am giving context, my role. I am a professor of poetry. Who is my audience? What is this output that I'm requesting Copilot to get? It's tailored to whom? It's to my students. How do I want to see that information? I want that to include translation editions, cost of these years, but I want it sorted by year of publication. So let's send this. We can see that we have quite a longer prompt. We're gonna send that to Copilot. Now we're still on the web. So it is navigating the web and looking into different Bing searches in order to create this outcome. So here we go. So we have it, we set it sorted by publication year. So here is the result of original date. We can see that the dates are just going up. Now I have, as requested, the original date, edition, publisher, format, price, notes as requested. Hi, welcome. All right, so this is working with Copilot, the web tab. You can also use this to generate, have a brainstorm as well. Let's start a new chat. Let's do another more complex request in here. Let's put this in here. I'm going to read that. So I teach chorus. So a lot of arts professor in my examples. I teach chorus at a university and need to come up with theme ideas for a classical concert that my students won't hate. What are some themes I can offer them, and what are some custom ideas and music to go with each? Make sure each piece has a choral part. So here again, a lot of context. I'm indicating a specific task to Copilot to create. So a brainstorm. So it got me 5 themes for a classical concert. Again, here I could have been more specific. I could have indicated the numbers of suggestions that I wanted, or even one theme and then have multiple options from that. So my first theme, Myth and Majesty. I have my music, I have my costumes, got the concept, and same thing for the rest. Now, this Copilot chat it works as a conversation, so I can keep going with follow-up prompts. I can create an original prompt, or I will always see as well some suggested prompts in here. Now, we've been working with the web tab. Again, those who don't have a license will by default always use this web tab. It won't be even indicated. But the great thing about the license is actually working with the work tab as well, where Copilot does access your Microsoft information. So here, let's say that I do have a few files in my OneDrive that I want to reference. I can do that directly in my Work tab that only works in the Work tab. So for example, here, let's do another scenario. Here I have, in one paragraph, summarize any common themes in my student's paper. I've saved my student papers in my OneDrive. So let's check out what are those names. We have, let me go back to my student papers here. So everything that I can reference in Copilot must be on the cloud. So either OneDrive or SharePoint. So here I have, let's use Figure and Freudian. So how do I reference? Multiple ways of reference files. I can start with a slash, and then I can start typing the name of my file. So whatever keyword it detects, I'll have the suggestions that come with it. So that's one. Let's put another one with the slash as well. And let Figure, Freudian, ethics. I think it's what figure of context, yes. And I can keep going and still keep going and reference multiple files at a time. Let's go and just do another one. Mary Shelley. I did not recall those names. And note that if, like me, do not recall your names, you can always go and copy by right-clicking. Copy your link. That way you'll have that link ready to paste in your prompt. I just did Control V to paste that, and it's gonna recognize that file. All right, so here what do I have? I have my expectation, meaning in one paragraph, I want the answer to be in one paragraph. If I would have not indicated that, I could have had a very long summary because I'm requesting a summary. I'm looking for common themes in these students' papers. So let's have Copilot do its work. And it's explaining me here in one paragraph, after reviewing this, the common theme that emerges is between idealism and human complexity. And then it's giving me a more expanded explanation of what I find as themes in those different papers that I referenced. So multiple things that we can do with Copilot Chat. Now, let's have another example, but this time, let's go directly to a web page. We can use Copilot to translate, yes, documents, but we can also use it to translate web pages. So let's go to this web page. And then this time, I'm going to use Copilot on the right pane. So I'm going to expand that at the top right, click on the icon to have this. Now, let's start a new chat. This is still on the old conversation. We're switching topics. Now I'm gonna ask some question. I can ask anything about my website. What I'm looking for is a translation. In order to have Copilot on the right pane access my web page, you wanna make sure that you're working on the web tab. All right, and then I'm gonna ask this to translate this page into Spanish. So let's send this and let's see how Copilot understands this task. It's asking me if I allow this to access the page. Yes. There you go. I only need to do it once. From now on, it's not going to ask me. And here we go with the translation of this web page quickly done by Copilot. So it is a small place to see all of that information. We can, of course, as I was showing earlier, go back to my full interface and look into past conversations in order to work differently if I have any follow-up questions on this. Now let's check out how we can translate documents. Multiple ways of doing it. If you do have a Word document. Yes, you can do that directly in Copilot chat, but know that you can also do that directly in Microsoft Word as well. Whatever works for you best, you can, test both depending the output that you're looking for. You'll see which one you prefer. Now, for this example, I'm going to use the Copilot business chat. And from here, I'm going to ask to translate into Spanish. Translate. I'm going to put the slash to reference my file. This is the Student Rights and Responsibility Handbook into Spanish. And as simple as that, I'm going to send this to Copilot. And then it's going to analyze the content in this file and give me its translation in my Copilot chat conversation. Now, of course, since I was needing of translating something that is existing in my OneDrive, I'm using the Work tab in here. And, and here is the translation. Even though I didn't request it, I have the new file that I can download. I actually have it as a text file. So here I could ask it to extract that information into a Word file. And you will notice if you request the same prompt, if you use the same prompt more than once, you can have a different result. Could be because it is because you can have more than one good answer. I've tested this type of prompt earlier, and it was actually giving me the translation directly in the conversation. Now, both are good. Both will be giving me a good translation. And here, for example, I would personally ask it to translate it, to extract that into a Word file, which would be easier for me. Or actually, personally, I could, depending on what you're looking for, I could ask Copilot in Word directly to translate it so we could use the same formatting that my original file is using. All right, now let's go to Word and see how we can use Copilot within Word. Now, before moving on to this, I'm going to pause and see if we have any questions in the room, because I've been talking a lot. But I can keep going, or you can keep your questions for later on. So I'm in Word on the web. Know that, of course, we can use Copilot on the web, in the mobile app, in the desktop application as well. All does the same thing. So I can use Copilot to draft a document. So let's say that you do want to start with a starting point for something that you need to create. I have, like anywhere, suggested prompts at the top. And then I do have my prompt area. In Word, you want to use, when you're using a blank document, your prompt area either above your page or directly within your page. Why? Because when you request content creation and you use either of these, you're going to have the result directly in the page using the structure, the formatting that you are using right now. And by that, I mean the different styles that are applied to your theme. Know that you do have, of course, Copilot in the ribbon. This is going to open the right pane. If you request content creation in here, it's going to do it. It's going to keep it on the right pane. It's not going to put it in your page. You can eventually add other steps to put it in the page, yes, but it won't be applying any theme or styles that you actually have right now. If you're using a template, for example, it is easier and quicker, and you have less steps using directly the content, the prompt box at the top or within the page. So that means, why do we have this pane? What is the purpose of this pane? We can ask, and we're going to see later on, we can ask questions to Copilot regarding the content. Can you summarize this content to me? What is, let's say we're talking about environmental issues. Can you give me a summary of the top 3 environmental issues? So whatever questions you do have about the content, the right pane is the perfect place for it. But let's start and have something created for us. Multiple ways of using Copilot in here. We can request content creation from scratch. So I'm going to do that first. Create a document about the benefits of using Copilot in Word. Include a bulleted list of the best uses. So let's send this. Let's have Copilot create its thing. As we can see, it's using headings. It's using my title style. And we have this as a draft. Now, what can I do with this now? Let's say that this doesn't work for me. It actually is not what I was looking for. Maybe I wasn't specific enough in my prompt. I can request some changes to this draft. Here, I do have my floating toolbar where I have what do you want Copilot to change. So it's going to change on the draft. So whatever request you do have here is on the draft. If let's say that is really a way of what you're looking for, you can just simply rewrite your prompt and it's going to create a completely new version based out of that new prompt. So 2 different possibilities depending what you're looking for in here. Let's say that I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to keep this draft. What can I do? I can keep it this way, still in draft mode. Can keep it. I can actually regenerate a new version based out of the same prompt. We'll see that second version coming up based out of the same prompt. Here we go. Let's keep going. And now note that I can navigate between my 2 versions and then decide which one I want to keep. And of course, I could have simply discarded this. So let's keep this. Let's keep it. Now, let's say that I have this information and I actually just want to work on a specific section of this file. Let's say that this introduction, I want it to be rewritten. I can, here, we're talking about content creation or content rewrite. I do have in my margin this draft with Copilot icon that I can click. And here I have my prompt box. What do I want to do with this section that I selected? I do have some default prompts, such as just auto rewrite. It's going to just keep the same tone, the same ideas, just written in a different way. You can make it shorter, more formal. But let's say that make it sound more exciting, right? So I'm going to send this. And it's going to specifically change the tone for this section that I've selected. I'm sure you're going to see some exclamation points here and there. Here is now the new draft, right? It's just beneath the one that I selected at the top. And we will find similar features in here. I can keep it as is. I can replace the selected one. Or I can regenerate with the same prompt. And again, I can request additional changes to this draft. So I'm just going to replace that. And now I have my new version that I'll be using from now on. All right, let's take a look now at the Copilot on the right pane. So opening this up on the ribbon. And note that I have my suggested prompts as usual. I can use this, summarize this doc. I'm going to click on this and it's going to automatically send that to Copilot. Oh, and here it is, my summary of this document, of this file. Now let's say that maybe this is too long for me. I could request this summarized in a more shorter way. I could be vague as make it shorter or summarize this document in 25 words or whatever really what you need. We're just here to see some examples what can be done with Copilot. Here we are. Let's see what we have with 25 words. And still working on it, almost there. So depending on the type of request you're doing, it might take longer. And now this is my new, very short summary that I'm going to be using from now on different places that I do need to be sharing information about Copilot.
Question.
Yes.
Is it able to access the Microsoft applications we use here at UM? It can still work the same way that we use the web Microsoft Copilot to access all of our work applications?
Yes. So here you will be able to request some information and reference other things that are existing in your Microsoft world, in your Microsoft account. So here, for example, say that you want to compare that to a different file and just want to have that information in your right pane, and we can compare this file with, compare, let's make sure I put this correct. Compare this file with, and I can again use my slash and reference, as we can see, files, people. I can reference meetings, emails as well. So I can either copy the link as I did, paste it in here, or start typing my file in here, compare this to this, and it's gonna give me an answer. Now, this is very generic. What do I want to compare? It's not even the same topic, but say it's definitely something that you can do. Well, this side pane is quite it's small. So if you're looking into comparing multiple files at a time, or it really depends on the task you're trying to accomplish. If it's regarding the content of your file, this Copilot within Word is very good. It's the best. If you're looking into comparing or working with multiple files at a time, having a very long conversation with Copilot, I would go with Copilot Chat in Microsoft homepage, because it just has a nicer interface. It's way easier to use, more comfortable. My pleasure. Great. So let's go now to Copilot in Outlook. Let's close this. This as well. Yes. Not yet. So the questions, I'm going to repeat that here for the audience. We're asking to convert an Excel file into a PowerPoint presentation. At this moment, Copilot works very well with Word files and PDF. Eventually, it will come with Excel, but at this moment, it doesn't. However, exactly. However, you can use Copilot here chat. And here you can reference, let's do another one here. You can reference your file. Let's go with this one and create me a PowerPoint presentation. My audience is this, my context is Y. It's gonna provide you a PowerPoint presentation. Yes. Create a presentation showing trends of mortality based on this file. PowerPoint, I'm gonna be specific, create a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so that's quite new. It was not working this way a few months ago, but it's always evolving, it's always getting better. It's gonna create a basic PowerPoint presentation. It doesn't have a theme. It doesn't have that beautiful, good looking thing that we can do when we work directly within PowerPoint with Copilot, but it's gonna get you a result to start from. We can, yeah, and I do have a piece of today's session to go through PowerPoint, so we'll be able to see how we can use Copilot to change a presentation. Now here specifically, there you go, there you go. Here you go. These include the visualizations. Here was a very generic request that I did, so I'm gonna have a generic presentation. I could have a full conversation first with Copilot chat and then have it extracted to PowerPoint. I could have, yeah, that could have been done. So I use Excel, so it's basically charts that it created for me. Again, I could have requested something more specific if I wanted some text. Yes, my Excel is just, it's this one. It was just, data. It's just data. Okay, I'm not sure if it does that yet. I am unsure. I haven't tried it yet, to be honest. I'll have to try that out if it moves it. Yeah. We can be specific. Let's see if I do have a chart. We're trying here for the audience online. We're trying to have a, let's create a chart here. Okay. Let's start with, let's go with Excel directly and have Copilot create a chart, and from there have Power or Copilot chat create a PowerPoint based on this. Okay, here I have my, I can do multiple things in Copilot in Excel, desktop, web. I can create formula columns. I can pivot tables, pivot charts. I can highlight, sort, filter data. So what I'm going to do for this request, I'm going to ask Copilot to create a chart showing death rates by cause. So I have all of this information, cause of death, and then I have my data here that indicates the cause. So let's start by creating that chart, and then we're gonna request it to make it a PowerPoint presentation. All right. So it is, of course, going to go through my different data. So how Copilot in Excel works, it's going to analyze my data. So we can see it has a little color. That's because Copilot is going through this. And then it's going to explain me all the steps that it did. And then it's going to give me the suggestions. And then it's up to me to decide if I want to apply or not the suggestions that Copilot is giving me. So here you go. I analyze data in this range of cells on this sheet. This is what I found, average of overall rate. This is my chart. Here I can decide with the button, add to a new sheet. If it were, for example, a formula column, I could have that button insert in table, all that type of thing. So I have here now. So now let's do the next step. If we want to have this chart and ask Copilot to create a PowerPoint base out of this. So let's go back to Copilot chat. All right. And I'm going to use the same prompt. I'm going to try something new. Okay. Create a PowerPoint presentation based on, oops, I keep doing some typos. Based on, I'm going to put, this is indicator. Make sure to integrate the chart from the file. All right, let's do that. Let's check out how Copilot responds based on that. Now, again, eventually Copilot within PowerPoint will be able, and that will be the best because we'll have a beautiful theme, styles that are applied, templates if you're using organizational templates as well. Okay, if you do a typo in your requests, it does recognize that. So yes, it does that for Copilot every app. Sometimes if it doesn't recognize, it's gonna let you know that it doesn't understand your requests. Because Copilot in Excel is particular because you do want to use the specific headers. It can pick it up, sometimes it won't. So if your request is not working, you just verify that your prompt is well spelled. Since we are using specific data, and maybe a header is very similar to another one, and just that misspell could confuse Copilot in Excel specifically. Yes, because it will understand that because your request is in a case sent as a sentence. So, I'm looking to find the cause of death of XYZ. So it has that natural language already. It's how it's created and trained. All right, so let's check out now my PowerPoint. This is it. Let's see if it created a new chart or if it's using the actual chart that is already existing in Excel, because we saw that it can actually create charts, but we'll see, where is it? Still opening. Just give it a moment. No, this is the past one. It created a new chart. It didn't use the actual one. It's very similar though, but it's not the actual one that you do already have in your Excel. Now, here. So this is what I had in here. Top 5 causes of death. So, no, it is not the exact same chart. That's right. We can make it, you can ask it to create new charts, but it won't transfer the actual existing one. You can request it, it won't, and you can request it, but it won't necessarily give you the, it doesn't have that capacity yet. It's gonna create you something, but I believe you will be spending a lot of time trying to use Copilot to get to the place that you're trying to get right now at this moment with charts and Copilot and PowerPoint. No, pleasure. Okay, let's see. We have about 15 minutes. So let's just check out a couple of things since we are in Excel right now. Let's keep going with Excel. Here I have my sample data, right? Let's go back to Copilot on the right pane. Multiple things that you can do, for example, add a formula column. Of course, everything that Copilot does is something that you can do manually because it uses the actual feature that are already existing. Here, for example, I want to have a column that's averaging the male and female rates. So add a column averaging the female and male rates. I do have that information somewhere in here, I believe so. So let's send this. Let's see how it responds. Right here. So gonna take a moment to understand my data. And it's gonna generate a column. It's gonna suggest it, and it's up to me to decide if I want to insert that or not. Now, the type of request I could be requesting for new columns, combine the time period in a year and quarter into one column because I have all of that in separate columns. I can go and, if I have information in a different sheet, I can ask it to put that column in a different sheet in here. It's going to use lookup functions. So it's going to all do that for you. So here is average male and female rate. Again, it's letting me know where it looked the information, where it wants to insert the new column. So it's an I right here. It's explaining me what is the calculation that it did, average male and female rate. I do have the formula. I can expand to see the explanation of the formula. And then I do have a preview of that new column. I click the insert new column. And here I have, if I double check, I do have my formulas showing in every cell, and it's now giving me the average, perhaps saving a few seconds for yourself to work and keep working on other tasks. Copilot, let's close it. So in the Home tab, you do have it at the right, at the far end. So you'll find the same way in Copilot and PowerPoint. It will be at the far end in the Home tab as well. So As we saw, we can create charts with Copilot in Excel. We can add columns. We can ask it to sort and filter, highlight that as well, create pivot tables. Now, if we switch gears, we can, do a lot of things in here. If we switch apps, let's take a look quickly of what Copilot can do in Outlook. Now, in Outlook, we can use Copilot to summarize an email thread. So, for example, here, this email that I have, it's very long. There's a lot of things that have been said in here. So, at the very top, I do have my banner of summary by Copilot. So, it's going to go through this thread and give me a summary of what has been shared so far in this thread. Now, this summary by Copilot is available in all Outlook versions, Outlook Classic in the desktop application, the new Outlook, and the Outlook web app. So here it is. We have my summary, and then I can even ask questions Copilot regarding this content. What else can I do that is very nice with Copilot in Outlook? I can draft messages. I can draft emails from scratch. So if I start a new email in here, let's just maximize this window. Here, I can have my draft with Copilot available in my body of the message, or I can go it again at the top right, draft, and then I put in my prompt whenever that's going to show up. And I'll be able to send my prompt in here. Let's give it a moment, or maybe I have to click it again. Let's click it from here. It's not showing. Let's close and reopen. Troubleshoot 101, closing and reopening. There you go. So let's keep it here since it's showing now. What do you want this email to say? As always, I do have my suggested prompts, but I do have a very long prompt here. Write an email to tell my students about our upcoming exam that will take place next Friday and be conducted by my lead TA. It will include all materials from the last 2 weeks and chapters 3 and 4 of the textbook. Stress that this is 1/4 of their grade. Let's end this. So I'm going to have a draft based off that prompt. I could have, again, give additional information in this prompt, perhaps the tone, or the length of what I want this message to look like. So here is my draft. Dear students, I hope this finds you well. The exam will be conducted by our lead TA. It's going to cover this material. I like to stress the importance of this exam, etc. So I have a great starting point. What can I do now? I can adjust it, of course. I have my follow-up prompts area. What do you want to do next? Maybe I want to change, the length, the tone, or whatever, add additional information. I can simply keep it as is, discard it. And I have here those default prompts as well, just retry. It's going to use the same prompt and rewrite another version. Or have the simple clicks to make it shorter, longer, have some tone options as well available to you. So let's just keep it as is. Here we go. And now, of course, I can actually manually adjust it before sending this. Now, this works for emails from scratch, but it also works for replies. If I take this email thread and then I use Copilot to reply, I'm going to have the same prompt area. I do have suggested prompts, and those suggested prompts will take into consideration the context as well. I'm going to just, send something here, request information. I'm just going to use this as is just to show you. Now, when you use Copilot to draft a reply, it's going to take into consideration, back to Copilot, let's just keep it. It's going to take into consideration all the conversation that has been happening. So whatever you put into the prompt, you have the prompt context and you have the message thread context that's taken into consideration. A lot of other things that you can do with Copilot in Outlook, such as getting coaching on your message, scheduling with Copilot. But since we have 10 minutes left, let's just check out how we can use Copilot in PowerPoint. So a couple of things that we can do over there. I'm going to do that quickly. And so I can also show you other items if we do have time. So PowerPoint. Now, when you open a PowerPoint with content, I'm going to automatically have a summary from Copilot. I'm going to automatically have an FAQ from Copilot. Now I can create a presentation from scratch with Copilot. So let's create a new presentation. What can I do in here? I can just simply send a prompt and it's going to create me original content. Let's put here my prompt. Here, create a presentation about. So the beginning is already there. I'm going to create a presentation about differential diagnosis for a sore throat. Just with this, I can request a creation. Let's send this. What it's going to do, it's going to create an outline for me to confirm. It has its sections, so my title, its sections with the different slides in it. I can delete sections, I can add new sections, I can reorder my sections. I do have the number of estimated slides at the bottom. And let's say that I do confirm that this works for me. I'm gonna generate the slides. So I'm gonna have this window that's gonna show me a preview of the slides, basic preview of the slides that this is creating. And once the creation is over, once Copilot finishes generating all of these slides, the window will automatically close and I'll have access to my slide deck. So Copilot will create presenter notes as well that comes with it. It's going to add images as well that will resonate with the keywords that we find in the presentations. Now, those images come with Microsoft 365 content library. Let's keep it. So let's take a look. So we have this overview, right, of my different sections. We have title for each sections. It comes with an agenda. And let's go to one here. Yes, you can delete that for sure. And you can even ask Copilot to provide a different image. You can definitely ask Copilot, or you can simply do it yourself if you have something already available. If you didn't want any image at all, you could have put it in your prompt as well. Oh no, you don't. It doesn't use a specific site web. Yeah, here what we can do is here add an image. Add an image of a patient with symptoms, and I'm gonna rewrite this because again typos. Add an image of a patient with symptoms here. So what's gonna do? It's gonna add an image from the library of Microsoft 365. It's just gonna go through that library in order to suggest. Oh, you just have to. Okay, I have to close and open it again. If we run into problems, it does happen. So just close the app, open it again, go back to Copilot. It does happen sometimes in any of the apps. So it's going to suggest an image based out of the keywords, and that is available in Microsoft 365 Content Library. If you want to create an original image with AI, you do use the keyword create an image and then you describe it. When you use a keyword create, it's going to create something original with AI. So we can just use a regular prompt as is, but we can also use, let's start a new, let's see, let's refresh that, a blank. We can also create a presentation based out of a file. Let's say that you do have your essay, your policy, if you're working in the university and you do want to create a presentation. What you can do, and that file must be a Word file or a PDF file. Again, that one must be saved on the cloud, OneDrive, or SharePoint. So here, I can use Copilot. Let's go back to the Copilot and create a presentation about. Again, I'm using the slash in here. I'm going to use the benefits of using Copilot in Word to convince my manager to purchase licenses. Yes, that's my next step. Absolutely. So you can, this section should already be available. I'm going to go find you after this to see and troubleshoot that. So here we change the design. Right now I have a blank. I have nothing selected. If I go here, change design, if my organization were to have any templates, they would be showing in here. Mine doesn't. In that case, I could go to Microsoft 365 templates and select any of these, select design, and it's going to apply that design to this PowerPoint creation. So most of the time, people will be using this type of prompt. So referencing a source or referencing actual content that you already have that you want to create something about that. And again, still going to come with some images out of the Microsoft 365 content library. And of course, with, I didn't take a moment, but it comes with presenter notes as well. And this being based out of a file, of course, those notes will be coming based out of the content of that file as well. Now, it's quite new from a few weeks. I can reference more than a file in my prompt. In PowerPoint, I can reference up to 5 files. So let's keep that. Let's take a look at one of these. If I check here, these are my presenter notes, quite useful when I'm using presenter view during my conference, my seminar. If you're unfamiliar with presenter view, this is presenter view. So that's used with 2 monitors or more. So people are just seeing the actual slide, and on my main monitor, I have my notes that help me out through my presentation. All right, you guys, we are out of time, but if you still have a few minutes, I can still go and show around how we can use Copilot in Teams meetings, which is quite useful because it does take some meeting notes for you. So I'm gonna go right now. Here it is, my Teams. Again, I'm using the web, but you can use it in all platforms. So how does it work? When you schedule a meeting, if you're the organizer, you do have the meeting options that you can access to enable Copilot. You can do that when scheduling a meeting. You can do that after sending the invitations. You can do that also when you are in the meeting. For example, let's just put here AI class. I'm gonna just invite one person in here, Jay. And when I go to my more options, these are my meeting options. Copilot and other AI. So do I want to allow Copilot in my meeting? Of course, you can turn it off. And then you have 2 options, only during the meeting and during and after the meeting. So how does it work? If I choose during and after the meeting, this will be needing transcription from the meeting. So everybody have to put their consent that it's okay to transcribe the meeting, of course, before starting this. That way we can ask questions to Copilot during the meeting, but once it's finished, we can also keep asking questions to Copilot. What were the pros and cons of this argument? Was there any questions that were unresolved? That could be done after the meeting as well. Know that if you're recording a meeting, it automatically comes with a transcription. Now, the other option that's in, you know what, people do not allow recording nor transcription. So my option would be to only allow Copilot during the meeting. So you won't be able to ask questions afterwards. You won't have access to any transcriptions as well. You still can ask your questions during the meetings. Are there still any questions unresolved before the meeting ends? You can ask Copilot for a summary before the meeting ends, and you copy the summary, you keep it in your notes. So that would be a way to work with that. Now, I do have a transcription of a past meeting. Let's take a look how that shows up. So my meeting, AI usage, here it is. Now, there was a meeting earlier and there was no recording. There was only a transcript. So how does it work? I can view the recap. And here, first of all, automatically, I have my AI summary. These are my meeting notes. I can expand this. These are my meeting notes, automatically created by AI. I even have some follow-up tasks. How did that was done with the transcript, which I can take a look. Now, as a meeting organizer, I can download this. I can change the options to make sure who can and cannot access or download or start this. And I do have my Copilot available to me at the top right. So I can ask additional questions such as, were there, and I already asked this question, so let's take a look, because I did this presentation earlier as well. Were all items resolved during the meetings? Here I have my Copilot, not all items were full resolved, and then it's indicating me what was, what items we discussed and what was left. So here I can keep going. Give me a summary of the meeting in 2 sentences. You know what? I don't have time to go through the full AI summary, so I'm just going to ask it to have it in 2 sentences. Here we are. That's all I needed to know. Let's move on, go to my next task. All right, so that's what I got for you today. You guys went through all of our content. I hope that this was useful for you, that it's gonna motivate you to get a Copilot license. It can save you a lot of time, let you be more productive. Here is the QR code where you can get and request the license if you don't have it yet. You can go ahead and scan that with your phone. Those that are online, you do also have the link that is going to be shared if it's not already shared through the Q&A pane. And there are also other sessions this week and additional resources on the second QR code and the second link in here. So if you wish, you can go ahead and scan this information. Now we still have plenty of time for questions. We have 55 minutes for questions. I'm gonna go take a look at your Copilot in a PowerPoint in a moment, but if there's any other question right now coming from the room, I'll be happy to take them, or I can go individually as well, see if there's anything that we can take a look at on your computer right away. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks. At 3:30, my colleague will be doing the session. I'll be doing the Q&A.